Google's blog, the keyword is kind
Okay.
of like the first source. And then I found this through SEO Engine Land when I was
Right.
just doing some SEO searching. I guess we'll just do a quick little playthrough here and then
Yeah,
we'll get
sounds
right
good.
into it.
Google search results now increase exposure for local news content. This episode of Today in News Tech is made possible with audio articles by ourhometown.com. Today, we're highlighting a piece by Henry Powderly over at Search Engine Land. The article, Google Adds Local News Features to Search, Giving Publishers More Exposure, discusses new search features recently released by Google. Now when you enter a search term, results may include more locally related content. This includes a new social media carousel of related tweets. The feature is an expansion of Google's inclusion of localized content from COVID-19 searches. Social media can give readers additional information that they may be looking for about local issues. We recently launched a new way to help people find local information on the topics they're searching for by surfacing tweets by local, authoritative sources and authors, including tweets from news organizations, from Google's blog, the keyword. Here are a few of the big takeaways. Queries on Google search like News Near Me have increased threefold over the past 5 years, reaching an all-time high during the COVID-19 pandemic in May 2020. The local results are not just reserved for local publishers, just local content, i.e. sources with news about the user's location, which may include national reporting as well. Accordingly, good search engine optimization, SEO, is essential for a publisher to be included in this new carousel and local news feature. Managing a publisher website's SEO can be a tricky endeavor, which is why all websites hosted by Our Hometown include a sophisticated SEO dashboard allowing for extensive control of how site content appears in search results.
Nice. Let's ask some questions here. Does anyone have questions about this? How does this apply to local publishers? Like I said, I don't think it's really any different than just Google News. You know, you want to get yourself in Google News and optimize the site for SEO, but specifically submit to Google News.
They mentioned it down here at the bottom as new CEOs, why good SEO is essential. Although the inclusion of getting on Google News, I read on another article, is now automated. You don't actually apply. So that's why SEO tools that we have on the back end of the WordPress sites allow you to tweak all of that kind of stuff to catch the eye, I guess, of the spiders that are scraping all the sites.
I think what it actually is that you don't have to apply, but if for some reason they haven't picked you up yet, you can still apply. And even if they have picked you up, I think then you can claim your account because you would take some code from Google, put it on your site to verify that you're the owner. And then,
this is the related article on, on ways you can kind of check the search console for Google and things like that to see how they're actually seeing your site and also what types of things to use, URLs, RSS feeds, and things like that will get you into that algorithm machinery a bit.
Well, another practical thing from this that I would take away, if you could go back to the article, I think they had some screenshots. So there's this, they're pulling in, they have a little widget from news sites, but then they also have this social widget now.
Yeah, I brought up Google, just let's see what's going on.
Let's see what's in Rochester.
In Rochester, as you can see, I've done that one a couple times.
New York.
So look what pops up here. You
Yes.
get a top stories widget, which then has more news.
Right.
The Democrat and Chronicle is our print. There's a TV station. This is another TV station. All of these are TV stations, but then you also get just from individuals that are tweeting relevant things. You can see, there's Monroe County Fire Department.
Yep.
It's got some things in there. Look at this. You even got Right Lane Closed over on Goodman Street. It's down to that kind of granular level, just right there, because they're pulling directly from the tweets. This is 3 hours ago, 17 hours ago.
That's cool.
Things like that. And then if you click on that, it basically just takes you over to a Twitter search
with that search
on that same topic. So that's where they're pulling the content from.
Wow. All right. Well, then just yet another reason to not just optimize SEO, but optimize your social media presence, because then you could have two spots right here, right? At the top of Google search, you could have the article from the website and then the tweet about it right underneath. So,
because I believe this top stories, if I click on more news, I'm assuming these are the Google News approved outlets, not
Right.
just any random old thing. That's why these are all just the print papers and the TV stations and things. But
Right.
that's why this social carousel is so important,
Mm,
because it
right.
gets outside of that box and you get much more varied, but still local stories about whatever's going on.
Yeah. And then they're taking it to the next level and not just taking the geolocation of the person doing the tweet, but also, like, I guess what they're talking about. They must be using some natural language processing. If they're talking about Rochester, but they're located in New York City or something, their tweets would still show up here.
I assume so, or at least at the very, it may be almost too specific, because in the original article, they had stuff where you would just do a search for football. And because
Right.
it would know your location,
Right.
it would give you football related stories. But a lot of those might come from that could come from
Right.
ESPN, or
Right.
it could come from a local Detroit paper.
Wow.
I can give that let's see, soccer. So we
So
get
we-
ESPN, Daily Mail, and
Right.
if you look at this one, there's no
Local news. really.
social media
Yeah.
thing here. There's no carousel on this one.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how they're rolling this out, but I think it is interesting that, of course, Google has all this information and they can just say, wow, one of the biggest terms that people used was news near me, in the last year.
Yeah, they use even their own Google Trends
Right. Over the past
widget
5
to,
years.
to
Wow.
demo that.
Yep.
And if I scroll down a little bit more, this is basically it's saying football, but this is on a mobile device, so that may be why you would get this hyperlocal social feed, and it's
Right.
more on the mobile side of things. In this blog post, they talk about a few tools for reporters on
Right.
data gathering and things like that, which I thought was interesting, but wasn't as pertinent to what the original search engine. They were just highlighting some of the new UI features of the
Right.
The search results. Just a quick overview of that kind of specific search result that seems
Right.
to lend itself to really getting some extra exposure, especially for
Right.
non-Google News affiliated sites.
You want to just fill out those social profiles in as much detail as you can. We'll talk about this on the SEO webinar, but you want to definitely put your city, state in your Twitter profile, because all these platforms are using that to make this stuff happen.
Well, this and also Twitter hashtags. A lot
Right.
of Rochester uses the hashtag ROC in
Right.
their tweets,
Right.
and that
right.
can just provide all kinds of things. And then
Great.
for our own publishers, if you're publishing to Twitter, but you're publishing the article that links back, so just a blurb that links back, you
Right.
make sure that these social media feeds that pop up in the search will then at some point lead them back to your site, instead of
Right.
them just staying on the search results page.
Oh, yeah, right. Exactly. It's a wide net, however you want to say it. You just want to get it out there so that it's easy for these platforms to pick it up, because this is where people go. I mean, we can't argue with that. If there's a local news story, you'll check one of two places: the local newspaper website or Google. And Google's just got such a hold on people. That's the place you go to ask questions. So we really just want to work well with them and just make our content accessible through that channel. Fantastic, guys. Thanks for watching Today in News Tech, the podcast covering innovation in digital journalism. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube or any of your favorite podcast apps. We'll see you tomorrow.
At our hometown, we help newspapers build WordPress websites, design native apps, and develop digital subscription models. If you are interested in a free prototype of your publication on WordPress, go to ourhometown.com and click the Contact Us button.